For all the people that thought Abdullah Mason was a special fighter, tonight was the night that he shined brighter than any other. And for all the people that thought Abdullah Mason was going to win a world title sooner rather than later, tonight was that night that you got to see him strap that around his waist. And for all of the things that he does at a very high level, what impressed me the most wasn't what you would have normally thought. It wasn't his control of distance. It wasn't that spear-like jab. It wasn't the uppercuts. It wasn't the angles or the speed or the footwork. It wasn't any of those things. He did all of them great, but that wasn't what impressed me the most. I've seen all of those things before I saw him tonight, but what really shined for me tonight was his ability to persevere. It was his grit. It was his ability to bite down in the face of something that he hadn't seen before. When he went out there in the first, 3, maybe 4 rounds, he was already landing shots and doing things. The majority of his opponents would have quit already. They'd already been down. They'd have been stopped. Fight would have been over. His hand would have been raised. Sam Noakes is tough, though, man. The dude is tough, like an old biscuit, like $2 steaks, like just man, like dock posts on an old pier. Like this dude was going nowhere. He no quitting him. He wasn't unmotivated. He wasn't ready to be stopped. He wasn't going to pack it in. He came there to work overtime. Whatever it took, he was going to be there. So Abdullah Mason is going out there and he's shining, showing off the hand speed and the foot speed and the angles and the beautiful boxing and the ability to move from the outside, land big shots. Noakes comes in. He's countering with uppercuts. All of the things that we've seen before, Noakes went nowhere. As a matter of fact, that's when Noakes started to crank it up. Started to land right hands of his own. Because look, we'll be perfectly honest. For all the praise that we can heap upon Abdullah Mason, and there's a lot of great things that we can say, one of the things that we also have to say is that the man's defense isn't airtight. He's not a young pretty boy Floyd. He didn't go out there in this world title fight like Floyd did against Gennaro Hernandez and pitch a shutout. That wasn't the case. Noakes was out there landing a lot of right hands. Noakes was out there going to the body well. There were times when it seemed like Abdullah Mason was hurt to the body. I even saw a tweet from Kermel talking about, he don't like those body shots. We saw that. We saw that there were times where he had to get on the back foot a little bit and dance around and clinch up because those shots were affecting him. And that's fine. He's a young guy. As I said, 21 years old, and it's only his 20th pro fight. He's a young guy. He is still continually improving. But it was his ability to persevere through all of those things. All of those times when guys would have quit and he'd have got him out there in the past and he had to still continue to bite down and go forward. Had to do it for 12 rounds, 12 hard rounds. Never gave up, never let his foot off the gas, continued to go out there and just get after it. And those are the things that you want to see from a young fighter. I promise you. When Abdullah Mason entered the ring, however good you thought he was at this level, let's say, he was at this level when he left the ring. What he proved to himself and the ability to make those adjustments, to bite down through all that, to land your best shots on guys and have him go nowhere. He is still right there. You heard him. You see him back up. You see him wobble a little bit. You see that he's breathing hard. He's bleeding, whatever. And he doesn't quit. You still have to go out there and deal with that man who just wants to be a buzzsaw and apply pressure to you. So to go out there and do those things, that's monumental for a young fighter. Those are the things that really shape you and mold you and give you what you're going to need for the fights ahead. Because Abdullah Mason, man, that is it. He now has a world title strapped around his waist. Think about what we got at 135. We're talking about Shakur, Gervonta, Floyd Schofield, Frank Margis. The list goes on and on with the people that we could potentially see him in there with. What do you think about after that fight? I mean, who do you not want to see this guy? And I'm not suggesting that he could beat anybody. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I wouldn't want to see him go in there against a Shakur Stevenson. Shakur is a much more polished, mature fighter at this stage of the game. I'm not necessarily saying I want to see him go in there against Gervonta Davis either. Although I think that fight would be phenomenal. But what I am saying is this: now that he holds a world title, now that we're talking about him in a division that's as hot as 135 pounds, what is it that you want to see him do? Who is it that you want to see him fight next? I've heard him already talk about moving up. We know that that's only a matter of time before it happens. You look at his frame, you realize he's not going to be able to make 135 for too much longer. But I bet you that we're going to get some fights out of him at this weight. I bet you he's going to defend that belt. I would love to see him go after some of the other belt holders and try to rack up some of this hardware and see exactly what it is that he's able to do. But this performance that he put on tonight, like I said, he showed everything that we've seen from him and more. All of the physical skills, all of the boxing IQ, all of the talent. And then we also saw that dog. We also saw his ability no quit. We also saw when he was getting caught with shots and still kept it going. And it wasn't necessarily like when we saw him get dropped before. We saw him have to persevere in a fight. He got knocked down 2 times. And you want to make the argument that maybe that was the fight when he really had to persevere. That was the fight that he matured and grew up. I can understand making that argument, believe me. But the difference was in that fight, he was significantly hurting his opponent. Even though he was taking shots, even though he got dropped, he was hurting that man standing in front of him. And anytime that you're able to hurt that guy standing in front of you, that's always going to give you that little bit more confidence. That's always going to give you that boost. It's going to help you realize the fight is always this close to being stopped. Just go out there and push a little bit more, man, and you'll get this guy out of there. And he didn't have any of that motivation when he was standing there with Same Noakes in front of him tonight. Because Noakes, again, no quitting that man. He didn't show any sign of wanting to pack it in. He didn't show any sign of just pile on a little bit more and I'll quit. Just throw a few more punches and the ref's going to jump in between us and that's going to be it and it's going to be over. So when Abdullah Mason was dealing with the difficulties and he was dealing with the getting hurt and he was dealing with his plan not working and punches getting landed against him and all that, he didn't have that in the back of his mind like, oh, I just need to make it through this moment and we'll get there. The only thing that he could have in his mind is these are going to be 12 long, hard rounds. But look, he was prepared for him. His team was prepared for him. He did absolutely everything that he needed to do in this fight. Great performance from the young man. I've had the pleasure of really locking in and watching him for, I want to say, about 2.5 years. I actually saw him in person about 2 years ago. Saw him on a fight. He wasn't headlining the card. It was out in Ohio. I want to say he was maybe, I don't know, 3rd or 4th down or whatever. Jared Anderson versus Charles Martin was the headline event on that one. But a little bit prior to that fight, and then ever since then, I've had the pleasure of watching every single one of his performances, and they've been phenomenal. And tonight was no exception. So let me know what you guys think. Were you as impressed with this performance that he put on tonight as I was? What do you think is going to be next for him with as hot as 135 pounds in? Who do you want to see him step in against? Let me know.